Guys, gets me every time. Guys, we're back and we are about to shade, and hopefully this one's not going to take us too long. We're going to follow the same shading strategies we have used the last two times, starting with our darkest darks. So let's go for it. Before we do that, I'm going to fix this and make it a little bit fatter, the cockpit here. Because when I looked at it in between times, it looked a little bit wider. So I made that a little bit wider. So that means this is going to be a little bit wider. Okay, there. So the darkest dark on this is quite obvious. It's the windows to the cockpit. So let's go ahead and scratch those bad boys in here. I do not use the very tip of my pencil. I use the side. Because the goal here is not to scratch up the paper. Okay. Top window. All of these have the same value in the reference photo that I am looking at and that I gave you. So y'all should know what you're doing by now as far as shading. By the end of this class, not only are you guys going to be able to draw any kind of geometric object, whether it be a vehicle or a building, but you're going to be able to do some darn good shading. That is what I would like to see. Y'all sitting in a subway station, waiting for it to come and drawing the subways that come by. Shouldn't be much of a big deal for you at all after a class like this. Or waiting on the bus to come and drawing the cars that are coming by. All right. There. All right, so we've got our windows in here. There are colors on this. The color that we see in the movie, we see a lot of, it's orange. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make mine orange. I'm sure I've seen blue, I've seen orange, I've seen red. But I'm going to go ahead and use orange just because I really don't use orange that often. So I'm not going to draw that in now, but that is the color I'm going to use. But again, I've seen these in blue, I've seen them in red. So do what you would like to do. This thing sticking out the back is not the blackest black, but it's pretty dark. And then I'm going to shade in our little edges here. Yeah, not with my darkest dark, but with a nice gray. Okay, so one of the first things I notice as far as the next value is the inner part here on the turrets. So it's pretty dark. So I'm going to do a cross shading on that to make sure I don't get it too dark, because I don't want it to be as dark as the windows, because those are the darkest dark. But I do want them to be very dark gray. Okay. And do the same on the other side. Again, this is not a perfect drawing. Okay, mine's not perfect. yours is not going to be perfect. If you can look at the reference, there is no giant gap here. There's no giant gap here. So hindsight, I would have put the lines a little closer. That, or the cockpit's just too skinny, and that could be the case too. So that might actually be a bit of an easier fix. Let me try to fix it. You guys don't have to do this, but maybe just watch, and if you like what I do, then you can rewind it. Because I don't want you guys to ruin it just because I'm experimenting. I come out a little further with it like that. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. Instead of going straight back parallel, I'm coming back at an angle. So there's going to be some serious mess in here. Y'all are seeing serious transformation of this cockpit. I wasn't anticipating doing this, but let's see what happens. It might look terrible. It might not. We'll find out. But either way, the cockpit was too small for the ship. So I'm adjusting it to what I think. Trying to fix that. Again, so a lot of times when you step away, you're like, what the heck was I thinking when I did that? When your head is in the way, literally when your head is like down here looking, it's difficult to see sometimes. So I am doing a drastic change. I'm trying something else here, trying to make my cockpit just a tad bit bigger. So it makes more sense with the shape of the ship. Y'all are gonna hate me for this. But that's part of the process. Okay. A little more proportionate. Now we're gonna come across with the top. Okay. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna chop it down before. Let me step back. I'm gonna hold it up. Look at it real fast. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I like that. It's more rounded off. It's not as sharp here in the corners. It is more rounded. Okay. Coming down with this. Problem solving. This is what all the public schools are looking for. You guys to be able to problem solve. Drawing is one of those skills that is all about problem solving. How do I fix it? How do I make it look the way it's supposed to look? That is problem solving. And it's hard. Sometimes you need to ask somebody else to tear your picture apart, no matter how much it hurts. Be like, there's something wrong. I cannot see it. Can you tell me what is wrong with this? I guarantee you there's plenty of people out there who would be willing to tell you what's wrong with it. Exactly. There are plenty of people. Not many people who would like to try it themselves, but plenty of people. So maybe you can take advantage of that and take advantage of those people's need to critique and criticize and actually use that and be like, what do you think about this? And you're like, well, it doesn't look like what it's supposed to. That's great. Tell me why. Tell me why. They're probably not anticipating you to go back and fix it, so you can surprise them. Turn it on their head. Use it as a chance to perfect, to make it just right. Not justifying those people who like to criticize, but you can only change yourself. You can only control yourself and your response to things. So your response to those people should always be, why doesn't it look like that? If they can't answer you, then that's on them. You know, they shouldn't be criticizing. But if they can answer you, then buoy for you. Because then you can go back and fix it. All right, that was a long detour, but just fattened up the cockpit a little bit there, and we're good as gold. Actually started drawing some Naruto things recently because my friends like those, and I was doing a commission. That's pretty interesting stuff. I've never tried to dabble into anime much, to be honest, but it's fun. It's very different than the Disney style that I am so used to. Because I learned to draw back before we had the internet. I mean, internet was around, but we did not have it. I'm sure it was back before YouTube. I didn't have all the fancy stuff, right? I didn't have internet to just copy people. So I would take books and I would tracing paper and I would just trace it right out of the books. That's what I did. And that's what I did. So I developed more of a Disney-esque style of drawing. But also that I would watch the how it's made documentaries at the end of Disney movies and things like that, and picked up a lot of tips from that too. Then when I went to college, taking an animation class for the computer, which unfortunately that's not really my thing in the sense that I haven't really developed it. I just kind of had to take it for my teaching degree, my art degree, but that is definitely fun times. It was very difficult, the computer animation, but they taught us the elements of animation. We had to try to analyze all these cartoons and things like that. It was very interesting how they make these cartoons and things come to life. Y'all should check it out. But anyway, I finally got the book. It was written by some of the 9 old men. It's called Disney Animation. I'm looking at it over there, but I cannot see. Ollie Johnson. I think it's Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson. Guys, it's awesome. I learned so much from that book. But you guys now have resources to go online, and you don't necessarily have to pull out a book, but should you want to, that's a good one. If you're interested in animation at all or computer game design, I highly recommend the Disney Animation Handbook. It's awesome. Who knows? You might be a Disney animator one day and need to go through it anyway. You can dream, right? Okay. So now I'm starting the shading again. So I fixed my little cockpit where I like it. It's more proportionate with the ship. It's not so super tiny. We've got like mini people in there. It is much better, which means I need to redraw this line that goes along here. Okay. So again, this is going to be orange. I'm going to put a little shadow here from the turret. And I'm just going to draw some lines in here because we've got some stuff, some dots, because we got some vintage happening here. Shading this so it looks like it's more 3D. There. I already did the other side. Okay. Some designs. Okay, now over here, I would like to shade some under here. I would like to go ahead and draw the areas that I'm going to color. So I've got a little box section here, another one here, and then on the top, go to about there. So I'm drawing little boxes that I'm going to color in. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add some color, take a break from the shading. We just shaded 2 huge objects last week, so I'm going to add some fun and add some color. Let's just take a short break from the shading. Got some burnt orange here. So I think I'm going to get that in my, maybe not scarlet. That's too red. Just, oh, maybe I'll grab the scarlet. We'll see. Okay. I've got a regular orange, a scarlet, and like this burnt color here. So I'm going to start out with the regular orange, which is too bright for what I'm wanting here. I'm wanting like a dark red orange, but I still am going to just color in roughly with the orange. Now I'm doing it roughly because this is not a brand new ship. Very lightly, I'm gonna hatch over and kind of shade it with the red, not fully color it in. If you're going for a different color, just start out with the lightest one and then come back over it with the darker ones. This burnt orange is literally the same color. I need something darker. Let me see. I kind of like that, but I still want it to look a little dirty. So, what about this pencil? Nope. Not a good pencil. What about mahogany? Yeah, that's what I want. Make some dirty it up in here a little bit. Get the paint coming off. Seems like the paint's coming off. Love it. Okay. And that is all I'm seeing as far as the shading on this one. Some of them put it all the way up, so there are some that have like this box type thing here, and then the shading goes up a little further, so I might do that too, make it come all the way up there. And this is just hatch in there like that. So for the rest of this, it's really not too complicated, to be honest. But I am just gonna, not the cockpit. The cockpit's gonna stay light. But I'm just gonna lightly, over here it's gonna be a little darker because it's going away from me. Okay, and this blaster has a shadow as well. So coming down, scratch that shadow in there. We already did the shadow on this side. So it's difficult because these blasters are close to the same color as the rest of the ship. So you just need to make sure to give it a nice defined line. Very lightly, I'm just going over it. All the lighter parts. Keeping this one cool up here. Might just shade the top just a tad, but not too far down. Coming around the curve, a little shadow there. And on the engines. Again, not too much value here. Nothing super shiny. All right. Sweet, sweet, sweet. How do you like it? I love it. I love all of them. All right, guys, you just did a great job today. We've got our T-47 Airspeeder. AED 2021. All right, guys, great job today. I will see you at the end of the week for something different. Very, very different. Bye.